Directing a movie, if you try to do it properly, is not always fun.
It's life.
That's life.
It's movies. Yeah.
So I was thinking of Kubrick as a cultural influence. I thought of the notion of dark comedy, also Sprach Zarathustra, Singing in the Rain, Here's Johnny. To expand upon that concept, how do you think about Stanley as a cultural influencer?
It depends for who. See what I mean?
Exactly.
I think that for people who want to make movies, of course he was always probably ahead of his time. Probably very. I mean, look at 2001, a year before Man Lands on the Moon, and no, he didn't shot that. I mean, people still believe it. No, you know, when I was, we had to go on contract with the trust, the Kubrick Trust in London, because you have to have the right for publicity with the family, and they were so mad about that film. You know, it made a lot of bad things to the aura of Stanley Kubrick. Of course, he didn't shot the Man on the Moon, but still, it was very well done. That's the problem. A lot of people believed it. So anyway,
there were symbols in The Shining. I saw. You see Room 237.
That's not. I mean, why not? I mean, why not? It's clever. It's very cleverly done, but it's not about his. It's not about him. It's not about what he thought about it. And talking about the cultural influences, I would say he was always either ahead of his time or in the present time, very well aware. You know, I saw there was a box there in London. They have at the UAL, University of Art of London, you know, and they have all the Stanley Kubrick's archives, not personal, but professional, everything, all the script, all his notes, everything, like thousands and thousands. And there's a special box called Hostiles, a big box. And I opened it and there's all the bad critics. And he did that. He clipped it. You have his notation, his quotes, everything, his thoughts. Sometimes yeah. So yes, of course he has. He was in his time. He was very well aware of where he was living and the world in which he was living, and he had a great influence in I would say in any filmmaker or any aspiring filmmaker.
You know, as far as the cinema culture, he's always influencing.
He will always be. And you know what? My documentary, you know, is everywhere, you know, all around the world. Even though the coronavirus, you know, is a terrible disease, but the film is everywhere, and everybody is still interested in Stanley Kubrick. Everybody, and a lot of young people. So this is very important. You know, I was in Deauville Film Festival, American Film Festival in France, 2 months ago, and there was a screening, and a few people came afterwards to talk to us, to the producer and I, and they asked to use that for students, to show it to students, because it's like a masterclass. It's
right.
You know, when you hear him as humble as he was tough at work, of course, but I mean, who's not? I know a lot of directors like that. I think there are. So the students, yeah, it's like a masterclass. Listening to him, what he has to say, and what his perception of how to make a film. Not only what his films are about, but also how to make them. This is a process, an incredible process, because he was free. I think that's a great lesson for anyone who wants to make movies, because everything is possible. Maybe you won't be as free as he was. So when you understand that guy made his films so freely, and it wasn't frustrating on his sets. You know, a lot of people also said that, like, he spent like 2 years shooting all the time, and that it was very long. He did 100 takes. Everybody knows that. It's in the movie, and people say, oh, we already know that. I say, okay, but listen to him talking about it. It's not, try to be objective again. But anyway, but you must understand that Kubrick, his movies didn't cost more than any other Hollywood movies. Why? Because his crew, he had twice or 3 times less crew and material than the studios in Hollywood. That's why he could allow himself to shoot much more, but it didn't cost more. So that's a legend. You know, everybody thought that, oh my God, he was spending so much money. No, when you look at the pictures of his films, the picture of the making of, or the making ofs of his films, or the pictures, you know, on set, it's a rather small crew. I exaggerate, but sometimes it looked like, say, a short film.
Yeah, or a student set.
It really, I mean, on Clockwork Orange, he had very small material, very small crew, really, very small crew. I saw hundreds of pictures on the set. I mean, it's very simple. So he could allow to do it, you know, spend more time.
One of the things that came out of your film for me was his process, because we don't, you know, unless you're studying him really closely, you're not thinking about what he, you know, what he does to prepare. You know, you don't think about that, but his meticulousness obviously came out. This is Patrick McDonald for HollywoodChicago.com. Copyright 2020.